June 25th, 2015, the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner introduced the world to a chilling game known as Sad Satan by uploading the first of 5 gameplay videos for it. This was the first record of the game's existence on the internet. Unlike conventional horror games, Sad Satan offered no objectives, no enemies, and no resolutions. Instead, players navigated dimly lit corridors and were bombarded at random points throughout the game with cryptic symbols, audio, and images. It was a game unlike any other. What really made Sad Satan stand out wasn't just its creepy vibe, it was the sick, twisted content hiding beneath the surface. The game wasn't just unsettling, it was tied to accusations of demonic, illegal, and downright disturbing images. The game was a maze of dark, claustrophobic corridors with no clear goal. You wandered around with a first-person POV while distorted audio played in the background. The sounds were seemingly random, but ranged from reversed music to warped screams and laughter. Perhaps most unsettling, there were snippets of serial killers' interviews that sometimes popped up. Every so often, the game would throw full-screen flashes of disturbing images at you. Some were just weird, like black and white photos of statues or cryptic symbols. Others were outright horrifying mugshots of criminals, cult references, and cryptic Latin phrases. One of the most infamous was the recurring appearance of Jimmy Savile, a disgraced TV host known for decades of child abuse. His presence in the game made it feel like something much darker was lurking beneath the surface. To top it off, there was a ghostly child who would sometimes appear in the hallways. In the last gameplay video uploaded by Obscure Horror Corner, one of these ghostly kids started following the player, and there was no way to escape. The game ends when the player is finally caught and killed by this eerie, silent figure. As creepy as the original Sad Satan was, things took a much darker turn on July 7th, 2015, when a download link for the game popped up on 4chan's paranormal board. People who downloaded it quickly realized they were involved in something demonic. The clone reportedly included extreme gore, images of mutilated bodies, and even CP. Weirdly, the game also contained malware, which would mess with your computer, sometimes causing it to crash completely. Jamie, the alleged owner of Obscure Horror Corner, denied any connection to this version, claiming the one he played didn't have any of that illegal content. But his story had holes, and people were already questioning whether he could be trusted. Jamie claimed he found Sad Satan on the dark web, saying a mysterious and anonymous user named ZK sent him a link to the game. According to Jamie, the game was hosted on a hidden Tor service. However, people were left wondering where the original gameplay footage came from, as all the original download links were fake. People have spent years trying to decode Sad Satan's meaning. The references to Jimmy Savile and the ghostly children have led many to believe the game is a sick reference to child abuse and a way to distribute twisted content. The name Sad Satan derived from reversed audio from Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. And Latin phrases suggest some kind of satanic or cult theme. After all the controversy, Obscure Horror Corner went silent and the channel was abandoned, but that didn't stop the internet from obsessing over Sad Satan. Fans created clean versions of the game, scrubbing out all the illegal content so people could experience the atmosphere without the risks. What makes Sad Satan stick with people isn't just the horror or the controversy, it's the fact that we still don't know the truth. I would strongly advise against doing any digging, but if you do, be extremely cautious with what kind of messed up stuff you might be getting yourself into. In 2009, an internet mystery was born on Reddit and quickly grew into one of the most disturbing internet rabbit holes. Known as the Lake City Quiet Pills saga, it's an incredibly disturbing mystery that still has no resolution. The story begins with a Redditor named Religion of Peace, later revealed to be Milo. He was no stranger to controversy. As a moderator for the infamous Jailbait subreddit, Milo already had a dark reputation. r/Jailbait was notorious for spreading illegal content and was eventually banned by Reddit, but that's a story for another time. Milo claimed to be a war veteran, boasting about his alleged involvement in conflicts like the Cold War and even the Battle of Normandy. People were divided. Some were impressed by his apparent knowledge, while others doubted his claims. Milo was an unusually active Reddit user, despite claiming to be 80 years old, which added to the skepticism. On May 18th, 2009, Milo shared a link to a new website, LakeCityQuietPills.com. He described it as, quote, that old guy's image host. At first, the site seemed pretty basic, just a place to upload images. But the name itself, Quiet Pills, gave people pause. It sounded off, like there was more to it than met the eye. Fast forward to July 17th, 2009, Milo posted his last ever Reddit comment, which was a rant about spam content. Just hours later, a new user named 2-6 showed up to announce Milo's death. According to the post, Milo had died at his desk, leaving behind no family and only a handful of personal belongings. That's when things got weird. Some Redditors decided to dig into LakeCityQuietPills.com and discovered something chilling. Hidden in the site's source code were cryptic messages that looked like job postings, but these weren't regular jobs. They seemed to reference covert operations. Some examples of the postings include immediate need, 12 essay Spanish speaking, no papers required, and 4 for 24/7 DP, English speakers, Spanish fluency is a plus. The language was filled with military-style acronyms and obscure terms along those lines. One user pointed out that the abbreviation WW meant wet work, or more specifically, assassinations. The plot thickened even more in 2010, when a real-world event seemed to tie directly to the Lake City Quiet Pills saga. On January 19, 2010, Hamas arms dealer Mahmoud al-Mabou was assassinated in a Dubai hotel. He was suffocated by a team of operatives who entered the country using fake identities. This happened on the exact same day as a quote-unquote party mentioned in the source code of LakeCityQuietPills.com. This site listed a detailed breakdown of expenses for the event, hotel rooms, transportation, and even medical supplies that totaled nearly $94,000. The timing and the scale of the expenses led many to believe that this quote-unquote party was actually cover for an assassination operation. It felt too closely related to be pure coincidence. People began digging into the site even further. The account 2-6 was tied to another alias, Angel 2-6. This handle had been active on other forums like Fark.com since the early 2000s. What's more, Angel 2-6's email address was linked to the LakeCityQuietPills.com domain. It was quite literally angel.2.6@LakeCityQuietPills.com. The activity surrounding these accounts painted a picture of a tightly connected group with ties to military or illegal work. Some people started interpreting the phrase Lake City Quiet Pills as a euphemism for bullets. The phrase Lake City Quiet Pills was traced back to a Remington ammunition plant in Missouri, which produces billions of rounds of ammunition annually. People have spent years debating what this all means. The most common theory is that the site was a front for a group of professional hitmen. Some argue that the military lingo and references suggest a group of ex-military individuals who defected from their governments. The connection to covert intelligence operations and organizations is clear, but the truth about the site remains unknown. After 2010, the updates to LakeCityQuietPills.com stopped. The site eventually went offline. Back in 2015, a strange YouTube channel called Unfavorable Semicircle popped out of nowhere and instantly grabbed the attention of internet sleuths, cryptography fans, and conspiracy theorists. It wasn't just the creepy content that made it stand out, it was the sheer scale and weirdness of it all. In less than a year, the channel uploaded tens of thousands of cryptic videos before YouTube banned it in 2016. The channel launched in March 2015 and wasted no time. Within days, it began posting videos, starting with one titled with a Sagittarius sign, followed by the numbers 230511. It was a 4-second clip of a brown, blurry screen with no sound. Simple but unsettling. Then came more and more. The scale of the whole operation was insane. Thousands of videos poured in over the months, all cryptic and impossible to make sense of. The The uploads were strange for a couple of reasons. Most of the titles included the Sagittarius horoscope symbol for whatever reason. Most videos had pixelated or abstract images like dots on a plain background. Some were just blank screens. Some of the videos were silent, while others featured distorted sounds, static, or a voice reading random letters and numbers. There wasn't much consistency in the video lengths either. Some were mere seconds long, while others lasted hours. The longest video on the channel was 11 hours. Here comes the strangest part. The rate at which the channel was uploading wasn't humanly possible. At first, videos went up every 10 minutes, but by 2016, the channel was cranking out uploads every 20 seconds. By the time it eventually got shut down, there were over 200,000 total videos. As word spread, a Reddit community formed to figure out what unfavorable semicircle was all about. As you might expect, theories started flying. Some thought it was a modern-day numbers station, like the ones used during the Cold War to send secret messages to spies. The strange letters and numbers fit, but the videos didn't follow the typical structure of a numbers station broadcast. Others thought it might be part of an ARG, where participants solved puzzles across various platforms. The videos seemed designed to be decoded or pieced together, but most ARGs give players clues or guidance, and this didn't. Some compared it to WebDriver Torso, a YouTube channel Google used to test video quality. I'm pretty skeptical about this theory since the creepy visuals and audio feel like overkill for a quality test. In 2022, someone claiming to be the creator of the channel gave an unsatisfying and probably fake explanation. He claimed the whole thing was an art project, more specifically, a way to explore abstraction and mystery, but personally I have a hard time believing that's all it was. Many people continue to speculate that the videos had a darker purpose, like illegal activity, espionage, or even psychological experiments. Out of thousands of uploads, a few stood out as especially significant. There were several titled Lock and Delock, with the Sagittarius symbols in front of the words, and some people thought these videos held the key to the whole project. These videos were packed with flashing visuals and strange audio patterns. By analyzing the frames side by side, investigators pieced together a grainy image that resembled the Voyager Golden Record, which was a disk NASA sent into space to represent humanity. There were various other clues that people noticed. Toward the end of the channel's life, a series of videos titled Brill appeared, each numbered in order. They seemed more structured than the rest, but no one was able to find anything conclusive. The most popular upload by far was the 11-hour video. It was almost completely silent, but reportedly caused some devices to crash. On February 25, 2016, just hours after the BBC published an article about unfavorable semicircle, YouTube permanently banned the channel for violating its terms of service. The exact reason wasn't clear, but most people think the sheer number of uploads flagged it as spam. YouTube never gave an explanation for the ban, which led people to speculate about a darker reason. After the ban, the mystery deepened. Similar accounts popped up on Google Plus and Twitter, briefly posting new videos before disappearing again. The last known upload, titled Reset Strange YD, with the Sagittarius symbol in the front again, went up in 2017, but was deleted within 30 minutes. That marked the end of the project, or at least the end of what anyone could see. Many still think there's something more sinister about the whole thing that's yet to be uncovered. If you've spent any time exploring the darker corners of internet history, you've probably come across stories about Mortis.com. It was a site that represents the perfect mix of curiosity, fear, and frustration. It's a relic from the early days of the web, a time when the internet was still mysterious and largely unexplored. What makes the site so unsettling isn't just what it might have been, but the fact that no one ever really figured it out. Even now, it lingers as one of the internet's greatest unsolved mysteries. Mortis.com first went live on November 14th, 1997. At first glance, it didn't look like much. Just a black web page with a white text login prompt asking for a username and password. No instructions, no links, no about section. If you didn't have the login credentials, there was literally nothing to see. This alone might not sound that unusual. Plenty of private websites require logins, but it was the scale of the site that caught people's attention. In investigators discovered that Mortis.com hosted terabytes of data, a massive amount for the late 90s when most people were still using dial-up connections and hard drives measured in megabytes, not terabytes. One file was reportedly 39 gigabytes in size, which is still huge by today's standards. At the time, it was mind-blowing. And then there was the name, Mortis, Latin for death. Whether it was meant to be edgy, symbolic, or just random, it added a creepy vibe that stuck. Mortis.com might have remained a forgotten corner of the internet if it hadn't been for forums like 4chan, where users on boards like X, Paranormal, and G Technology started poking around. Someone stumbled across the site and posted about it, and things snowballed from there. Some folks claim to have briefly accessed parts of the site, downloading bits of data before the site went offline, but they never revealed what they found, if anything. This only made the mystery bigger. Were they silenced? Did they find something they couldn't share? Or was it nothing and they didn't want to admit it? Here's where things get even stranger. Most websites, even after they go offline, leave behind a digital footprint. That's where the Wayback Machine comes in, a tool designed to archive web pages so they could be viewed later, even if the original site is gone. But Mortis.com went completely missing. It was intentionally excluded using a file called robots.txt, which tells web crawlers to not index the site. That might sound like a small detail, but it's actually huge. Whoever built Mortis.com went out of their way to ensure that no one could track its history. Why would someone do that unless they had something to hide? The domain was registered to a man with a bunch of other websites, including Cthulhu.net, EternalNight.com, KarenLing.com, and JoshuaLing.org. Cthulhu.net featured nothing but a single page with the words, "Dead but dreaming," whatever that means. EternalNight.com just showed an image of a glowing chess piece on a black background, nothing else. The other two led to dead ends, and were tied to interior design companies that supposedly didn't exist, run by people who had long since passed away. Investigators also found connections between Mortis.com and seemingly unrelated businesses, including a dentist's office at an address that turned out to be an empty lot, a high-end security firm, a lamp company, and a bed and breakfast. The connections were tenuous at best, but they added to the eerie vibe, making it feel like something bigger, maybe even criminal, was at play. When questioned, Ling himself reportedly claimed the site was just a storage space for personal files like wedding photos. But let's be honest, that's hard to believe. Why would someone need terabytes of storage for wedding photos, much less secure them with industrial-strength encryption? And why would the FBI allegedly get involved? Back on 4chan, people were obsessed with cracking the site's login page. Even seasoned hackers struggled to make progress, which says a lot about how well it was protected. Some claim to have broken in briefly, finding large files with cryptic names, but they either disappeared from the forums or refused to share details. Rumors spread that the FBI contacted some of these would-be hackers, warning them off the site. Others said Ling himself pulled the plug after the site gained too much attention. Whether it was paranoia or reality, many users eventually abandoned the hunt, fearing they might be getting into something way over their heads. Everything was seemingly wiped from the internet before the mystery could be revealed, which left more questions than answers. Over the years, people have floated a ton of theories, some more plausible than others. Some people believe it was just simply a personal repository for movies, TV shows, or other media. Some investigators noted links to Usenet files and even suggested the site had an embedded media player. But this doesn't explain the secrecy, the creepy aesthetics, or the sheer scale of the data. Others think it was a front for something shady, like a black market operation, human trafficking, or even snuff films. The empty lots, fake business addresses, and encrypted files certainly make this plausible. Even after digging through all this, I can't shake the feeling that we're missing something. The exclusion from the Wayback Machine, the cryptic files, the empty addresses, it just feels too unsettling to be coincidental. If it was just a hoax or a media server, why go to such lengths to hide it? And then there's the FBI angle. Why would they get involved if there wasn't something serious going on? And if Ling shut it down himself, what was he trying to hide? Mortis.com is an internet phenomenon that we may never get a conclusion to, but there's most likely a good reason for that. One could only imagine what kind of sick files were in there. Maybe some things are better left unexplained.